Welcome on this edition of the Garlic Marketing Show. We're going to talk about branding, how to really, answer the big question about perspective, and a specific story how one real estate company did really cool things to overcome their problem with billboards and staging and client service, and ended up with a lot of results for nonprofits too. As well as in our tips section, we're going to talk about video strategy with Eloise from Eloise Design Co. about how she distributes and uses video. Eloise, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you all. Don't forget, this is brought to you by videocasestory.com. As Eloise is going to talk about, success stories are one of the best pieces of content out there. Go to videocasestory.com, learn how to collect, craft, and deliver those video case stories. You work a lot with local businesses. You work with higher education.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about how you all work and what you do.
Okay. So we are really focused on the branding side and creative strategy with clients. So we're starting with either developing that brand or defining that brand or elevating that brand with our clients. And so we work with a lot of small businesses that are local here that are first starting out, but we also work with established brands and businesses like the university. Auburn University is here where I'm at in Alabama. And so we're doing a lot of that elevating as well with those brands and then getting into creative strategy with them.
Awesome. And, and obviously brand can be one of those things that doesn't get a lot of success, but you've had success. Tell us a little bit about some of the successes you've had with, helping people create their brand and capture their story.
Yeah, well, usually thinking about clients who are already existing, right? When they come to us, they kind of know their problem, right? Or what their need is, I guess. And it's that they probably have been pretty successful. They've been very busy and they haven't really invested any time and money into the branding because, well, they've gotten business and it's been working. But they soon start to realize that, these tactics aren't going to help us grow. They're just going to keep us staying where we're at. And so, they need to do something else. And so we start working with them and, this isn't just higher ed or one industry, right? This could be a festival that we work with. This could be a high-end construction company to real estate to nonprofits, right? And their problem that they come to when we start talking to them about their branding and their creative strategy is how do we differentiate ourselves and how do we communicate that once we figure out how we're different? And they know that they're different from their competition in X, Y, and Z, or they know that they're different from another fundraiser or event, or even in a university setting, they know they're different from the other departments on campus because they are there for a different purpose, right? But then it's like, how do I communicate that? And a lot of times we're too close to it. We know it too well. We need that perspective, and we struggle to communicate what we do, how we can help, and how we solve that problem. So we start with a series of questions, and we say, okay, so I describe that ideal customer, right? And once they are able to do that, we ask, what's their problem? What's their need? How are you the solution? How are you helping them with that? Have you been communicating that you're the solution to that problem? And those are pretty routine questions. What I really love to get into though is asking them about perspective. Okay, well, how are you perceived? How is your brand perceived? And how do you want to be perceived as we're moving forward with your marketing and your branding and all of that? And then the last one that I love that really gets us some good content is, what are the common misconceptions of what you do and what you have to offer? What are those frequently asked questions that you're constantly kind of clarifying? That usually helps us with your brand message and what you're going to say. And so that gets us into the branding part that we help them with. But the next step is that creative strategy. We had a client in real estate, and they were a team, and they were not a new team, and they're actually very successful in their area. So they weren't coming to us because they're like, hey, we need more business, there's too much competition kind of thing. It was more of, we're actually really doing well, but we're kind of throwing money at every kind of marketing that's coming our way and advertising. Nothing has the same message It's whatever we come up with in that moment. And so there was no consistency across it. And so that's where we started. We had to create that consistency for them and really look at where they were spending their money. And that's really why the branding part is so important in the beginning. We want to kind of skip over that, hey, we got our logo, we're good to go. But there's so much more to it of the message and what you're trying to communicate. But so there was this one strategy session with them, and we started talking about what's working and what's not, and where are you spending your money, and is it getting you a return for it? And they talked about, hey, they asked the question about billboards. Are billboards worth it for us here locally? And that was a good question. And then we started talking about how they spend a lot of money on moving expenses for staging equipment for marketing homes. And I was like, okay. And then they talked about later in the time about how they really wish they had more of a focus on retention and client appreciation as a part of their strategy. And so we started talking through what is the solution for all these things. And I think the biggest thing about creative strategy is I remind people, like, don't look at it piecemeal. Let's look at the big picture. Tell me all these things you're thinking and you have questions, and then let's pull it together, that puzzle, right? And so what our solution was, we came up with all three of those things, was they ended up purchasing a box truck. We wrapped it in their branding, and now they have a moving billboard throughout town that other people are driving, parking in their driveways, and other people are seeing, and they're able to also give it as a free gift to every one of their clients, gets the moving truck for free for a day.
Oh, wow.
Out of their house. So it was client appreciation, it was your moving billboard, and it was covering that expense of a moving truck they were paying for all the time.
I love it. And how has that affected their business?
Oh man, I mean, but it affected them in so many ways. It gave them so much good content to share, and we put a contest out there of people naming the truck. And giving it a name. And then there was personality behind the truck, right? Like, get branding to be personal, and we made the truck even personal. She had a name, and she was a she. And it gave them content, but it also connected them. And there were so many reviews that they got from people on, like, Google reviews of, it was so amazing to be able to use a truck. It really saved us so much. They went above and beyond to help us, so then there's just, content is creating itself then.
Wow. And I mean, they got the reviews, and how long ago was this?
They purchased the truck, I want to say about 2 years ago. Yeah, nice. That might be right. Yeah.
And what's their biggest win have you seen from that?
I think one of the cool wins is that how much they've helped local nonprofits. So they will give the truck to local nonprofits for free as well. And the stories that they talk about, and then other people posting about using this truck and that it was such a gift to them, is just does great for your reputation and your brand and everything, So
I love it.
Other people saying it for you.
Love it. Awesome. That's such a great story. So, obviously you've created a lot of content, created a lot of video. Awesome. Well, this has been great, Eloise. Well, how does someone get in touch with you to work with you?
Well, I would love for them to follow on Instagram, Eloise Design Co. But then our website is eloisedesignco.com, and you can just reach out there and I'll get back with you.
Love it. All right, Eloise. Well, thanks for being on the Garlic Marketing Show.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you all for taking Eloise and I on your journey. This has been Iron Garlic and the Garlic Marketing Show.